warm welcome to you, and thank you very much for joining us again today. My name is Dakbo Aruwajoe. I know a lot of us woke up to a rude shock yesterday to discover that there are a lot of queues at the filling station. So it was even very, very hard for people to get the commodity. And even this morning, it's even worse because most of the filling stations that had fuel yesterday had run out, according to them. So at this junction, Nigerians will love to ask many questions. What is happening again? Why do they have to go through this hardship once again? Because you may recall that we went through one during the electioneering process period. So a lot of questions. Can't we just avoid this circumstance coming up every time like that? Must we go through this situation every time? So those are the questions also I'm going to be putting to my guest this morning. I have Comrade Sheyi Gambo, is the former national PRO of Pengasen and also convener Good Governance Group. Thank you very much, Sheyi, for joining us, comrade.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
And also I have another comrade Nelson Ekujimi. He's a rights activist and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much, comrade.
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me on your program.
I'll start with you, Sheyi, because you've been there. You know how this process is run. But people are still confused there because the last time the NNPC was blaming the National Association of Road Transport Owners, that's NATO, and the petroleum tankers drivers, that's the PTD, for refusing to lift petroleum. And also, we saw that the Major Marketers Association of Nigeria also is grumbling. They have finished business with the federal government. The federal government is owing them. Yeah. But the federal government has come out to say, okay, we are going to give these people their money today, which is up to 256 billion owing these people. It was 300 thereabout, but they were going to pay 100 billion today. I mean, they were going to pay 100 billion today, yeah, because they pay that via a process, a transaction process, which is going to germinate today. But can you shed more light into what is happening, Sheyi?
You notice that this year, this is the second time we're having queues, and we are just feeling it in Lagos. Actually, it has been in Abuja for some weeks now. The fact is that I see that we're a country that we love fame. We love make-believe. We don't really touch the crunch of the matter. As it is today, I can tell you that what we are doing, the import-driven economy we are running, cannot be sustained the way it is. We have to look ourselves in the eyes, and we have to take the bull by the horns and take decisive steps towards an objective. There's no way all our consumption, because as it is, I can tell you, that the refineries are down.
They say they're down, or they're giving us below capacity.
It's not a matter of below capacity. I can tell you that the refineries are down. They have not done their turnaround maintenance for long. About 2 years ago, we had, when I was national PRO, we had an interface with the minister. She promised us heaven and earth that, okay, let us, what we agreed that first do the turnaround maintenance, then we now decide if it's, we are going to sell it off and what is the model we are going to use to sell it. It was not done. That's why I said that even the unions have been complacent. People that should be able to, put the government on their toes to make sure that some of these things are done. But as it is today, it's not a matter of how we got here. We are already here. How do we move from here? Do we want this country to be run aground instrumentally, or do we need to take the decisive steps that will take us once our way? Obasanjo gives about 15 licenses or 18 licenses. Why don't we have those refineries? We should ask ourselves. The environment is not conducive. We don't even have a PIB that takes care of all the activities, the dynamics at play in the industry. Nothing is working.
We'll shed more light to this issue of refineries soon, but let me get to hear what Nelson has to say about this, because the last time when this thing happened, it was the political season. Yep. There were blames that it was the APC was sabotaging the whole situation. Eventually, when we got to understand that these oil marketers were not paid also, and afterwards, I think they gave them a little amount of money, which made us to see some fail. So I was wondering, this subsidy issue, can we shed more light into it? Because it's running to billions that we're paying people that lift this oil into the country. That is the oil we export to lift it back, and we pay a lot of subsidy. People are confused about this subsidy. I thought the federal government was going to pay subsidy for us. So what is going on?
Well, thank you very much. I think the situation on ground is a reflection of a failure of leadership because of the fact that it has been emphasized time and time again. Even it led to a popular uprising in January 2012, the issue of this subsidy, whereby we challenged the government to a debate on the issue of subsidy. And the government, because of the fact that she knows what she's doing, that she's trying to hide the truth from the Nigerian people, went behind the door and, you know, unilaterally increased the price of fuel. And even when we were calling for discussion, because we must admit the fact that democracy is about dialogue. Democracy is about engagement. Democracy is about debate. But unfortunately, we had the government that was not ready to discuss any issue. It was just whatever they feel is good for them in their own personal interest, unlike the larger interest of the society. And till
is it during the Occupy Nigeria that's where you when they increased the
yeah, that was when the
but the what's it called, the labor union and the trade union were there. I remember the what's his name again,
Abdul Wahid
and Esele.
Peter Esele, yeah.
Esele, they were there. They discussed. I thought they were representing us.
Yes, you don't forget that the organized labor is representing less than 10% of the Nigerian population, because a larger chunk of the Nigerian people are unemployed. About 40% of our population is unemployed, and the informal sector controls almost about 30 to 40% thereabout. So the labor, the organized labor went and, you know, did their own magic with the government and, you know, arrived at that price, which was not palatable to us. And, you know, ever since we have been in this mess. And don't forget, the issue also snowballed only recently prior to the election, when the government tried to pull wool over our eyes by removing 10 naira from the price of fuel to 87 naira.
Any significance?
No, the truth of the matter is that it even made the situation worse, because the only place you can buy fuel since that time till now for 87 naira per litre was in some locations within Lagos and maybe Abuja. Every other part of the country, ever since, fuel has been sold for 100 naira, 120 thereabout. So it shows to you that the government, just like in every facet of our national life, has been very, very, very untruthful in its relationship with the Nigerian people, and that is why we are
in this because Shay, you were in the system then, because was it that because Nelson said there was this government magic, and the NLC even included in that magic, because I thought the NLC would be representing us, and even as at now, the NLC, we've not really heard any tangible thing from the NLC. We heard the NMPC said the stock we have now is going to last us for like 27 days.
Strategic reserve, from the strategic
yes,
reserve.
from even, what's it called, the one in Lagos, the Apapa. And the lifters, the people, the marketers said, by Sunday or during this weekend, we are going to run out of fuel. So where are we? The NLC is not coming up. Is the NLC compounding our problems, or?
You see, the Labour Center NLC, I will tell you without mincing words that many of them don't know the nitty-gritty of what's happening. If you say that Nupeng, which is an affiliate of NLC, is talking, I'll say yes, there are players in downstream. Then when you're talking of TUC, you cannot tell me that the Medical Association or ASU will tell me about what is happening in the oil and gas.
So why is it Nupeng?
You see that
why is Nupeng quiet?
Now, what is happening is that the Labour Center have their issues after the elections. You know, so you can understand that. For Pengassin, my former union, I don't know why you know, we are not hearing the voice on things like at issues like this. But going back to that subsidy, that first initial subsidy, the fact is that Labour leaders were not being truthful to the people that we cannot sustain what we are doing. Look, a lot of all this shadow boxing, we should tell our people we cannot sustain this. They are playing to the gallery.
Sustain what exactly?
I mean, to sustain the subsidy, because there's no way you can tell me that there's no subsidy. If you are importing 100%, there's subsidy, but it is mismanaged. We have people, it has been abused. The process has been abused. That's why when you know, there were panels that were held and some people were saying that they did not even bring a bottle of Coke into this country and we paid them millions. It's not that there's no subsidy, but that the process has been grossly abused is what is happening. By the players, by the operators. And that is why we are saying that, okay, let us even remove this subsidy once and for all. Everything costs subsidy. We don't want to hear it. So let the process be driven by market forces. Let us make sure that we have more, refineries, make laws that will make private refineries and cottage refineries work, and let us start business. We can, because what we are doing now, we will be having, you'll call me again in 6 months' time to come and discuss fuel quote. For how many times have you called me? How many times? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We are still dancing around this. We should be able to face this problem, that we have a problem. Don't shy away from it. Tell the people that this is a problem. We have to set. I mean, if you have a responsible government, unlike what we've had in the past, that they'll say that the people should tighten their belts where they are eating fat. But now, from what we have heard about the incoming government, especially the person of the president-elect, that it means what it says. You understand what I'm saying? So we should give them that, we should trust them enough that they should build institutions that will make sure that whatever is kept, the subsidy money, instead of being that is kept now, that they will use it for what they said they will use it. Look, there's so many infrastructural deficits in Nigeria.
I want to get it. Nigerians were meant to benefit from this subsidy. That was the idea.
Yes.
For Nigerians to benefit. Yeah. That is why the fuel pump was increased.
Yeah.
But now it seems the Nigerians are not getting this benefit. A little, it's like oligarchy happening. So a little are benefiting from it. And maybe the marketers, who are the ones benefiting from this?
The people that are benefiting is that, the fact is that you cannot be in the business of bringing importation and not benefit from it. There are also government agencies, there are also corrupt officials and every other person that is benefiting, and the end user are the people. You know, by the time it gets to the pump price, you know what's happening. And as he rightly said, it's only in Lagos. It's not only for now, for years. It's only maybe Lagos, Abuja. That if you go to the east, I know that for years the east have been like 120, 150.
So that 80 is just a mirage.
No, that was a political. It's because of politics that was coming, and that's why they thought that maybe they could woo the people and get that one. Because if the oil, in the international market, the oil price is crashing. You know how much to bring it, the landing cost, everything has gone chaotic. So you cannot now say that. We can benefit from the basic thing that even we should stop importation. We should start refining. All this importation business should be stopped. All this refinery subsidy talk, arithmetic should finish. If you bring 6 professors here, they will give you 6 reasons and 6 calculations of oil subsidy.
And Nelson, I thought you were itching to.
Yes, I was itching to. My submission is that, 1, we must determine whether really subsidy exists or is an avenue for some people to make money. 2,
to you, does subsidy exist?
Look, for now, the reality on ground is that the government claims she's subsidizing the cost of importing fuel. And let me tell you this truth, that if subsidy really exists, because the essence of government is to alleviate the people's condition. If there is need to make the people's condition comfortable by subsidizing, it is in order. It is just left for us to have a responsible government that will be up and doing. I'll give you an analogy. If you say you are giving your child money to go to school, and there's a bully that collects the money that your child is supposed to use to feed, will you say because the bully collects the money meant for the feeding of your child, you will stop giving your child money to feed? Because you and I know very well, you can't read on an empty stomach. As a person, if I've not eaten, if there's hardly anything that will come into my brain, I will be empty. So I wouldn't know about other people. And I know very well that happens to a lot of human beings. So the issue really is that, is there a need for the subsidy? If there's a need for the subsidy, in whose interest must that subsidy be in place? Should it be in the interest of the Nigerian people or in the interest of the importers and the government officials who are getting their own kickback?
Whose interest is it today?
The interest of the subsidy today is between the importers and those in government.
Okay, let's get a clearer picture, because the people at home really want to know where we're going now. In your own instance, do you think this fuel scarcity is going to last than usual, or last or more than
What
last
not
for a
to-
while, because the federal government is going to pay these marketers today, and they said the 100 billion that they pay them is in sovereign debt note and a post-dated financial instrument which will mature at the end of April, which is today. So they're going to get the 100, but the fear of these people is a new government is coming. We need to get all the money from these people. So when do we get this?
What NATO said is that it was a warning strike, but we know that at the end of the day it will be a full-blown strike. Now there's a chain of supply from the marketers, you understand what I'm saying, to the transporters. That's why you have the NATO and the PTD, that's the drivers themselves and the owners.
So how does it get from you said from the marketers
that bring it?
So the marketers bring it from abroad?
Abroad, yes.
Okay.
They push it into the tank farms. They now have, because our
like the Apapa tank farm. Okay.
Yes, because you know that our pipelines are always being vandalized. So there's a lot of trucking going on. Yeah. So the fact is that, look, marketers have taken loans. Let's say that you took the loan at 60 naira to $1. Now it has gone to 200 naira to $1. You cannot. No businessman will want to. As of today, marketers have not even placed any order. What we are enjoying from my information yesterday night is that what you call the offshore processing, where NNPC takes the crude oil to some refineries, not marketers bringing refined product now. NNPC themselves take the crude oil to some refineries and it is refined and brought to Nigeria.
Who brings it? Is it NNPC that brings it?
Yes, NNPC
or the marketers?
No, it's NNPC that does this one fully, you understand? But there's how much they can handle. So, but you see what I'm saying is that all these ones we are still talking about are very feral. We are not eating where it is. Number one, a new government headed by somebody we know is a no-nonsense man that will look at all the books, all the I's, and all the T's and see how they are. So everybody wants to get their money.
Before the man comes in.
Because people have paid all kind of upfront to all kind of people. You want to get your money back. You understand what I'm saying? So there is that, there's a panic in the system. And it will be very unfortunate if this outgoing government does not find a way to settle it and just hand it over to because that's where they were going to start. Now, we don't have money. Our revenue is dwindling, and we still have to pay overheads. We still have infrastructures. We still have like I use a fairly big car. When I know how much I fuel my car, and it's because it pays me on the bad roads in Apapa where I work. If I use a Daewoo or one of these small South Korean for 1 year, that car will be written off.
Gone.
You understand? So you understand that we don't have roads, we don't have so many things, we don't have Medicare, there's so many other things that Nigeria needs that we don't have the money to do today.
At least let's just have even fuel to even move around before we think about even the bad roads that are coming. Nelson, when do you think this fuel scarcity is going to end? Do you think it's going to be quick?
Well, I don't know, because with this government still in power till May 29, anything can happen. Like you and I are witness today, that it seems Mr. President has just woken up from his slumber. He's been sacking people here and there. And you want to ask, where were you, Mr. President, when you got the mandate in 2011? It's a welcome development anyway, because it shows to you that Mr. President's statement at a point in time in our political history, that he will be remembered. I think with his actions now, Mr. President will probably go down in history as one president who woke up to the realization that he's the commander-in-chief a month to his exit.
But why can he wake up to the realization and sack somebody in charge? Because when you have flaws coming back to back, scarcity of fuel in a year, like back to back, shouldn't he just sack somebody at the ends of affairs? The petroleum.
Dapo, please hold on. The man has just woken up from a trance. You don't know. Maybe by tomorrow the realization will hit him.
Okay, maybe you can sack
yes,
somebody
tomorrow is still open for us. So, Mr. President, I just want to hope that the Association of Psychologists of Nigeria will also be kind enough to help us avail Mr. President of their services, that elections have been conducted, that come May 29, a new president will come into office, so that Mr. President does not remain in his trance and continue to sack and not remember that come May 29, he should step down from that office. The Nigerian people have decided that, look, the way you have managed this country in the last 4 years has been very, very, very unpalatable to their economic well-being. And that is why today, almost all of us are trekking. I know what it took me to get here. I went through a lot of pains. There are a lot of traffics on the road. There are places one is supposed to go to. You go to the bus stops. You see people. Economic activities has been, threatened, has been disrupted. So, by and large, we expect that as Mr. President has woken up to sacking, that sacking maybe will help us extend it to the petroleum sector so that the present crisis can be resolved. And like he has rightly said, the problem we have with this government is that on every issue, this government has not come out in honesty. It has been because
the major fear when you talk about honesty, because the executive secretary of the marketers, Olaore, said the stock in Apapa will last 3 days, and it's a major fear. So even imagine Apapa stock finishes, what will happen?
You see, look, I've gotten to a point that, look, let whatever will happen, let it happen. Mine is just that, look, let us pay the sacrifice so that our children will not meet. It was not like this when we were growing up. There were processes, there were everything. It was not like, we have gotten it wrong. And we should not, we should not hand this over to our successor generations. We should look at the problem and solve it once and for all. Whatever is needed.
And the major problem now is the electricity supply has been bad in some areas, as in people rely on generators every time. So now when you don't even have fuel in your car, you don't have fuel in your generator, what's the essence of?
Look, let me tell you something. I can tell you that majority of us Nigerians, just as he was saying, let me tell you, we love to be lied to. When Obasanjo sold the refineries, people were shouting, Labour people were not being sincere. Because if those refineries have been sold and is being operated today, it will be better than what we have today. I'm driving at something. The same thing with power. When Obasanjo sold, he did what he did, the process started in power. Yar'Adua came, started everything and said that there was no due process. Where are we with the due process today? I mean, look at go and look at the Singapore experience. Forget about democracy is guided. Democracy in Nigeria cannot be the same democracy in America. We are two different cultures. We have different kind of people. You understand? It has to be guided to your own people to achieve what you want to achieve. Obasanjo had a lot of obstacles and he bulldozed himself. What Yar'Adua and Co should have built on,
do you think Obasanjo achieved, talking about the petroleum sector, the oil sector?
Yes, I think, when he first came in, selling off the refineries were not on his agenda. But after pumping money, we turn around maintenance. The man woke up. Because I'm privy to one of the discussions he had calling the likes of Shell to come and run our refineries. And those ones said no, that they will not do it because of the corruption in the system. They will not do it because the capacity was so much that even the ones they are not running it basically for profit. So there were so many issues. The thing has gone down. It's getting obsolete.
Even the oil is even depleting. And do you think they should put all these blames on the doorstep of President Goodluck Jonathan?
Definitely, because he's the head of the country.
What about the former President Obasanjo?
No. You see, like the reality of the situation on ground.
There was Yar'Adua before.
Yes,
the
situation on ground today is what we should face and determine how we want to move. If we continue to lament about the past, we will remain stuck. And like he has rightly said, the major problem that has bedeviled governance in this country until this incoming government is the issue of lack of trust. When Obasanjo tried it, people didn't have trust in Obasanjo. Even the present occupant in office today, the only president in history to whom stealing is not corruption, unlike what is in our values. As an African man, as a Yoruba man, I know stealing is corruption. And thank God, the incoming president has told us that, like in African culture, stealing is corruption. We who know that this is the only government from time immemorial that will be having the level of trust that we cannot quantify from the Nigerian people. That is why we believe when General Muhammadu Buhari assumes the reins of power on May 29, it will not be business as usual.
You think things will change?
Definitely, because people are already changing. People are going to support him with prayers, Even in our own personal...
But Sheyi said we might even have to call him 6 months later to come and talk about first scarcity.
No, what Sheyi is saying is that the fear of the rot that the present government has allowed in place, they know if the man comes in, he's a no-nonsense man. He's a man whose yes is his yes and whose no is his no. So everybody wants to cut away their largesse. Just like the president, the outgoing president, the type of largesse he distributed during the elections, the dollars. So people want to cut away their largesse so that they know that when the new man comes, whatever we have taken, if the man is unable to detect, we'll continue to enjoy it.
So let me rephrase my question. Should we be expecting first scarcity after Buhari as?
I don't think so. It won't be.
But why did you think it was?
You see, the process, contractual process, is a process that whoever the government is, they cannot upturn it overnight. You understand? You have to study.
So it takes a while.
It's going to take a while. But what I'm saying is that even if we are going to have such hiccups, Nigerians should know that it didn't start with this government. I'm just praying that Nigerians, the businessmen, you and I, will have, give this government 1 year to focus on this economy. The economy is in shambles. We cannot,
it doesn't just take 6 months.
It does not take 6 months. Look, he has made so many promises. Talk is cheap. When Buhari comes there, that is when you know the rot is there.
Let's go straight to the budget, because people wondering, we're talking about subsidy. That's a major reason why they said we don't have fuel in our filling stations now. And the Senate has passed the budget, and 4.493 trillion naira that was budgeted for the 2015 fiscal year. But there's no provision for subsidy. But there's provision for SURE-P. That's the subsidy reinvestment empowerment program, right? I got that right. Yeah. 21 billion naira was budgeted for that. No subsidy, no budget for subsidy. So how do we get out of this quagmire?
Well, the truth of the matter is that this budget will not be binding on the new government that comes into office come May 29. The government that comes into office on May 29 will have to, look at the issues critically and, submit a proposal to the incoming 8th National Assembly. I assume, because I'm not a financial expert, I assume that the budget that has been passed by the National Assembly will expire on May 29, just like we have become used to the recent appointments by the outgoing president, which we all know. He made some appointments, just like he appointed somebody as chairman of SEC. He appointed somebody as a director in SEC, and some other appointments. We all know.
The MPA also, right?
MPA also, and we know that statutorily, those appointments are for 4 or 5 years. And we wonder why you are doing this at the twilight of your administration.
And even we have a new IG. We won't talk about that now, but let's talk about Sheyi. Do you think, you support Nelson's opinion that this is not binding on General Muhammad Buhari's administration, because we don't have money budgeted for subsidy?
It's not binding to the extent that, we might just play with the sub-heads, that this money will go here, this money will go there, because at the end of the day, how much is coming in? It's just a matter of priorities, that is going to change. And Buhari have said it. I've heard him say that he's not going to toe the line of any subsidy. And that is why I am in sync with what he's saying.
He's not going to toe the line of subsidy?
Subsidy,
So what is he going to do then?
Look, Buhari is going to open the books for all of us to see. If, as he rightly said, there's no subsidy, we'll see. If you have been subsidized, you will see.
He's
going to remove everything, if there's going to be any subsidy.
I have Shola from Ikpaja. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Bolaya, good morning.
Good morning. Long time.
Long time.
I really appreciate this, my brother, the PRO, the former PRO of Pengassan. He knows what is involved, and he has really talked about it. The role of Obasanjo that people misplaced and they could not understand. And I really thank you this morning that you have thrown light to it, and I pray that when you are called again, you'll be able to tell Nigerians the details of how governance is being run, and this way of our going through Coco that is not detailed enough, and we go onto the street and begin to talk some kind of a rubbish. how the government was not, accepting the continuity of governance in the person of Yaradua, dismantling all the structure that was laid down that would have taken us ahead of what we are facing today in the NEPA sector, in oil firms that we find ourselves getting into this mess. And I can just imagine that we are going to see more of it. I told us on air at a point in time that we are going to some drama that will be played on time. Okay. I want to trust the Buhari elected president as state. But we still have a problem. These power brokers who are in charge of this economy of this country, we are not seeing them. And they are going to manipulate this house, the parliament. We are not seeing this. It is not about the president alone. There's so much to discuss in this country. The economy is destroyed. The human capital, the individual is no more. We can't even trust ourselves. So, oil subsidy, no oil subsidy, agreed. They said they are going to pay 100. It is obvious. These people will collect their money either they like it or not, either we like it or not. Because we have even introduced the president-elect as somebody to be feared. There is enough fear even beyond what the man can do. Okay. And that is going to come for so much. And
Shola, I'm sorry, I have to let you go now because of time, because you just brought it up and a lot to be discussed. And you said a lot of books to be opened. And part of those books is General Muhammad Buhari is not resting on these 20 missing. We're still talking about the subsidy scam. $20 billion, right? Yeah. And now is it Price Water? What's it called again? Yes, Couples are saying it was 1.228 billion to be refunded back into the account of the federal government. But even the Price Water Coopers are saying now that the report you cannot be relied upon because they were not given enough details to work upon. So the money might be more than that.
They're actually working in that, because when you're talking about doing a forensic audit, the elements you're going to look at are the bank accounts, the receipts, and all these other books. So is what NNPC shows you. If they have hidden accounts, you will not know. If they have all kind of funny accounts, and it's what they show you. But why I started suspecting the report was when the presidency failed to make public the summary of the report. Just said it's only this is what they just said. Are we novice? Let us see the report. Let us look at it together. Let us know, because if there had not been, if something was not amiss, it might not be as much as it is. It might be more than. But it's our right to know.
Let's hear what Sunday feels about this situation. Good morning, Sunday.
Hello, good morning, Dapo.
Good morning, sir.
Please, my take on the matter is this. We need to downplay the issue of the oil industry in Nigeria. We need to develop other areas and be less dependent on oil. That is the problem of everybody. Everybody is looking at oil. Everybody is looking at revenue that will come from oil. Whereas God has blessed us in this country with other resources we are not tapping into. So let the new government that is coming, let them look at other areas so that Nigeria will develop.
Okay, Sunday.
If we continue to talk about oil, there will always be fraud in the oil sector.
Okay, thank you very much, Sunday. So diversification, that's what it is. But the Price Waterhouse Coopers report, he said the report is unreliable. He said at least they could not even get like relevance agencies like the MPDC, the upstream petroleum industry subsidiary of the NNPC. They could not even get anything from them. I heard some that they could not even get a statement from the banks also.
Yes, it shows to you the character of the present outgoing government. It took the statement of the president-elect that he was going to check the books to clarify what really happened with regards to the allegations of the $20 billion missing oil funds.
So Sanusi could be right. Is that what we're saying?
It could even be worse than what Sanusi painted. And again, I think I want to respond to the first caller. The issue at hand now is that no matter the cabal, the Constitution of Nigeria gives the power and authority to the commander-in-chief. Anybody that goes contrary to the Constitution is a criminal, is a violator.
I have a caller from Kano. I'm very, very sorry, Nelson. I'll come to you straight. Good morning, Nelson, right? Austin, Nelson. Good morning.
Yeah, thank you, my big brother.
Thank you
This
very
is
much.
Austin calling from Kano. And I also want to pass my greetings to the two gentlemen in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
Good to join you
Thank
this
you.
morning. Well, let me quickly say that the oil sector, like we all know in the country, is laced with a lot of corrupt practices. We know that the country bleeds through that sector, and nobody has been held responsible and accountable for the monumental waste and the deep-rooted corruption in that sector. Now, the incoming administration need to get the petroleum distribution system correct in the country, because two major critical and important factors, power and energy distribution in terms of petroleum distribution, is critical to the development of our economy. And then those who have been found wanting one way or the other in terms of corrupt practices in almost all the sectors of the economy need to be brought to justice.
Okay,
or else this rottenness will continue to the disadvantage of the Nigerian populace.
All right, thank you very
and
much,
have a
Austin.
lovely day. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Somebody has to be brought to book. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, what I'm saying really is that no matter who you are, you cannot be greater than the country. And the president has sworn oaths to uphold the Constitution. So the incoming government is a government that we know will live up to its responsibility, and rather than buck pass or play the blame game.
Let me try and quote what General Muhammad Buhari said during one of the campaigning time. He said we must reject a system that has turned one of the world's largest crude exporters into an importer of petrol. Things must change. And that's General Muhammad Buhari. Because he said in my time as NNPC chairman and the petroleum minister in the late 70s, 2 of our 4 refineries were built and domestic consumption catered for. But now you made mention, because you made mention of the fact that in 2008, right, the federal government gave out 18 licenses to those that applied for to set up private, and 16 of them used their licenses to set up tank farms and scrambled for contracts to import fuel.
That's a violation of the law. And it is expected that the law should take its course. It's just like what happened in the aviation sector. There was this aviation fund that a lot of friends and cronies of the government assessed, and today a lot of them have diverted the funds. And
to something else, and nothing is happening.
Nothing is happening.
George is calling from Ikeja. Good morning, George.
Good morning, Dr.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to the panelists.
Good morning.
All these booby traps that they are setting for the incoming government, right, left and center, I think one should just endeavor to ignore them until 29th of May comes. Why is it that the National Assembly did not leave a loophole for subsidy in last year's budget? And they know that this budget that they are passing now is going to be implemented by a new government. So they expected chaos to be in the country when the president will take over, so as to make him unpopular. It's evil, and it must be said.
So, George, what you are saying is we should not lay the blames only on the executive doorstep, but even the legislative arm of the government.
Yes, the legislative arm of the government knows that a budget they are approving in late April is going to be implemented by somebody that is going to take over from May. So, why are you making provision for a vacuum? Let the person that is coming to take over come and determine whether the subsidy should be reduced. You cannot even remove subsidy completely when the refineries are not working.
Yes, George.
Do they expect that he should come with fuel from his house to be giving Nigerians?
Thank you very much, George. Even also, George made a crucial point there, because we've not even discovered that the legislative arm of government has even argued about the fact that we don't even have subsidy in the budget of 2015 fiscal year. So it's another thing entirely. So the legislative arm of government is not even exempted from all these blames, or don't you think?
No, they are, but I think they are facing the reality. I'm telling you about the subsidy thing, you know. So I would give them what's it called, thumbs up on this issue. You know,
on this issue,
I've no apologies.
Okay,
you know,
let's go to the refineries issue, because I know you want to touch on that. We talked about that 18 refineries, where 16 of them converted their licenses into tank farms, so they could import, which is the cheaper and even the most. How do I say?
No, it's not the cheaper. It's the easiest way to make quick money.
Easiest way. Okay, good English. Easiest way to make quick money. And also, even in 2011, the Nigerian government signed an MOU with a Chinese businessman who planned to set up 3 refineries in Bayelsa, Lagos, and Kogi states. Let me add this again. In July 2012, the FG entered another MOU with American investors to set up 6 private modular refineries within 30 months at the cost of $4.5 billion each. And it's still work in progress.
Look, let me tell you, Lagos State has a rent edict that you should not do this or you should not do that. You know, that your rentage shouldn't be, should be once in a month. I mean, once you should be paid 6 months or something like that.
Can you reserve your thoughts, please? Let me quickly take Odesoya from Ikorodu. Okay. Good morning, Odesoya.
Good morning, Mr. Dapo.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to the 2 gentlemen in the house.
Morning, sir.
Well, I quickly want to make my contribution by saying that we should just pray the new government takes over the government efficiently and revive all our existing refineries, if possible, build new ones, and stop what is called subsidy. Because if you look at it comprehensively, what we call these things we see about subsidy is a complete fraud. At least the other time we saw the fuel subsidy regime at the National Assembly, we saw all what transpired. Please, let's just pray the new government takes over, revive the existing refinery, and build these new ones, and stop what is called subsidy.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, Oresoya. I'll let you finish your thought now, because why is it that we've been putting so much money into building refineries, even modular refineries, and we've not even heard anything about that?
You gave companies that are...
Yes, a Chinese company and an American one.
Then the 15 one of Obasanjo.
Yes.
I mean, Nigerians are core stakes in this thing. Then why are these refineries not there? The fact is that you cannot tell a businessman that I'll put so much investment in something and you now regulate me. It is not done.
Like the way PHCN, I mean, the private investors have been regulated.
You cannot regulate them. That, you know, because these investments are capital intensive. They have taken money from around the world, and you now say that this is a ceiling. You understand? What you should do is that allow them to. You should make the place such dynamic that you have all the players there. The what's it called? Service delivery. You know, the science in which you use of getting your oil, all these things will make there be competition. There must be competition. It's not, you know, we need food regulation.
Is that what you think General Muhammad Buhari, the kind of approach is going to
I don't know what, because number one, I don't envy him. I don't know what his economic advisors are telling him. But the fact is that we have a monster in our hands.
Is it rocket science to build a refinery?
It's not about building a refinery. You can build a refinery. There are all kinds of refineries that you can build. Even this, we have our Nigerian people refining
and they arrest them every day at the creeks.
But it might not be as refined as it is. So it's not rocket science.
But at least they use them. I have another caller from Ota. I'm very, very sorry. Caller from Ota. Good morning.
Good morning, Dapo.
Good morning, sir.
Well done. Good morning to the 2 gentlemen in the house.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
You see, I was when I wanted to start talking, the word rocket science came into my mind. That is what I wanted to ask. Has it become a rocket science, for God's sake, to build refinery? Because all these things you are talking about, like you have not said here, has to do with, the fact that our refineries, are not working. Because billions on, like this morning I had on news that the Minister of the Minister of Finance and Connecting Minister for the Economy said they are going to pay 150-something billion. Yes, and this is year, this is the way they pay. Can't we, build a refinery, fix them with all this money? That's a fundamental question. Secondly, like you have said, it's very key. When the new
incoming president
government that's coming here comes, diversification of the economy is very, very important.
All right, and thank you very much, Kola. Thank you very much, diversification. But it's not about the refinery, you said.
You see, what I'm telling you is that as of today, the way we are getting our fuel into our car is all import-driven. We are giving jobs to refineries outside.
Yes.
Why is it that nobody wants to have refinery? Because the rules is too harsh for business. You cannot say that I'll invest so amount, I will now regulate me. If it's easy, let the government build all the refineries they want to build.
Okay, within a year,
yes.
If you want to advise the incoming president, what is it that he needs to do immediately? People are talking about diversification of the economy, even diversification of how we get.
Even this government have been doing it. I mean, I don't know how far it's true or if it's propaganda, but we're hearing about the agric and everything. There's no way we have done that mistake for a couple of years now, that everything is on oil. And even the benchmark we are using is $53. We have solid minerals.
$53.
We have solid minerals. We have coal in Enugu. We have so many other things that can compete favorably. And I'm telling you, very soon we'll be drinking this oil because there's oil everywhere.
Everywhere. I have our last caller. Good morning.
Good morning,
Johnson.
I thank every one of you there.
Thank you.
The contribution is very good for we to learn about. I don't know who they call Kaba. I don't know. If we have a very good government in place, please let me be frank with you. I am a human being. If I am 40, please pick me up. They know all these Kabas. Let Buhari pick them up. They will release everything. That is it.
Okay, Johnson, that is it. Thank you very much, Johnson. I think I get your point. That means Buhari has got a lot of work to do. Nelson, we're going to be rounding up. So I want you to put this, maybe your final thoughts in what you want to say now. Because what is the way forward? What should Nigerians be expecting? In a year, are we going to go back to this situation?
What we should be expecting in the next 1 year or thereabouts is to expect responsible governance from the incoming government. He talked about regulation. But one thing I know is that if somebody has signed a contract to perform a certain function and it deviates from it, it's a violation of that contract. There should be penalties. If people have signed a contract to build refineries and they have diverted to building tank farms, it's a violation of the contract. Because the contract is stated in legal terms and there are penalties, and one will expect that any responsible government will make sure that the laws of the land are upheld no matter the circumstances.
At least if you have a scapegoat, others will know, okay, we don't have to
follow
suit.
While we are in this mess, even the refineries that they said are not working, what is responsible for their non-functionality? Because every day we hear an NPC come to tell us so refinery is producing so capacity.
Yes.
So we want to ask, what is the local consumption? What is the local production of the local refineries? The issue at hand is that, one, come May 29, we want to tolerate whatever misdeeds and shortcomings of this government till May 29. That it is going to step out of the seat of power. We know that come May 29 and thereabout and thereafter, the incoming government, because of the pedigree of the head of that government, who we know is a man of character and integrity, that we're going to have a responsible government. And we can assure him that the Nigerian people are solidly behind him to change the country.
We have 20 seconds to go.
Well, Nigerians, it's not going to be any easy day when Buhari comes in. So much expectations. And I know that 4 years is not enough to restructure Nigeria. 4 years is not enough, but we know that we will start.
At least we'll see progress.
We'll start seeing progress. But Nigerians should be patient. I'm not saying they should go to sleep. They should put them on their toes that wherever they're, but we should be patient. We should know that there's a sacrifice to be made. And that sacrifice, we should not wait for people to come and hear and be speaking big grammar. They should tell us the pidgin we understand.
Also, how long will Nigerians be patient, briefly, before we go, for scarcity to end?
For this one, they say it's warning strike. If they pay the money, so I guess by Friday, or by weekend, we should
by weekend. Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you very much. That's a little bit of hope for everybody. It's enough. Yeah. Thank you very much, Comrade Sheyi Gambo, former National PRO, Pengasen. Thank you very much. You, and he's also the convener, Good Governance Group. And many thanks, Comrade Nelson Ekujimi, rights activist and also public affairs analyst. Thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much.